Welcome back to Remaining Calm Through October. I'm your host, Karin Del Maestro, health, transformation, and calmness coach. And I'm also a breast cancer and BRCA2 thriver. Thank you so much for joining today. Today, we're going to be talking about how to remain calm by disconnecting or limiting social media exposure. Now, is this something that you get caught up in? Right? Have you noticed that it's a way of kind of numbing yourself and disconnecting from how you really feel? And you find yourself scrolling on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, wherever it might be. If you found that you pop on for 5 minutes and 45 minutes later, you realize that you're still there, that time is just disappearing from you. Right? From a place of observation, from a place of curiosity, not judgment, I'm inviting you to take a look and get honest with yourself, right? There's times where I grab my phone and I've gone off down social media rabbit hole. But, and here's the thing, this is the question that you get to ask yourself. Is it serving me? Or is this habit making me feel more anxious? Is it making me beat myself up because I'm not being productive and doing other things? Is it making me compare my life, my recovery, my breast cancer journey to others? My hair, my body, my breasts or no breasts? These can be the downsides of social media. And so, again, today it's about inviting that curiosity, right? And just saying, let me take a look. Not beating yourself up, not being hard on yourself, because remember, that's not how you would treat your best friend, right? But it's a question, is it serving me? Is it making me feel good? Because if it's not making you feel good, then you get to make changes. Pretty cool. Something that you get to change. Now, it has been proven scientifically that social media can impact mental health. There were huge studies done, especially going through COVID, through the pandemic, where I think all of us increased our social media usage, right? Because it was a time that for many of us, it was the only way we could connect with other people. But I think it was also an escape, right? It was escapism. It's like, oh, I'm just going to disappear down the TikTok rabbit hole and I'll come out whenever. Like, what else is there to do? And so, again, this is why I don't want you to judge yourself, but just observe, like, was that what you did? But it's been shown that this social media usage can make us feel anxious, depressed, feeling like we're not good enough. Feeling like our life is not accomplished or successful enough. And the thing with all of these, right, it's coming from, and please keep this in mind, that social media very often is like the highlight reel of somebody's life. Right? It's the highlight reel for most people. There are people online. That's why I love my friend, Dr. Christy Hibbett, because she shows the behind the scenes and the emotion and the messiness and the rawness and the realness of what breast cancer is actually like. But very few people are out there doing that. Normally it's a smiling face, or it's a gorgeous view, or it's a beautiful dinner. And when we start to look at that and think that that's somebody's actual life, who can blame us if we're saying, well, that doesn't make me feel good. That doesn't make me feel like I'm as successful or pretty or thin or like my house doesn't look like that. So what we're looking at are people's highlight reel. We're not seeing the behind the scenes. We're not seeing the messiness that we all live in every day. And so be very, very careful about who you follow. Be very careful and mindful and ask yourself, does this make me feel good? I remember when I was first diagnosed, I remember going onto Facebook and looking for groups, so, support groups and Facebook groups. And I found a number of them, as I'm sure you did too. And I remember being in those groups and sitting back at one point, and it took a while for me to realize, and it's like, wow, being in this group it doesn't make me feel good. I feel like anxious as I'm reading posts. The negativity wasn't resonating with me. It wasn't the environment and the energy that I wanted around me. And I remember leaving quite a few groups because I'm just like, no, I don't want that vibe. That's not how I want to feel in my life. But I have done so much work on setting boundaries for others and myself in recognizing what makes me feel good, what doesn't, what makes me feel anxious, what doesn't. And I know that for decades, I was on the hamster wheel of life, just going through the motions, doing what I'd always done, just doing what was in front of me and not questioning that. Didn't know I could. I didn't know I could do life differently. Much like the people that join Thrivership School. They don't know until they start doing it, until they realize, wow, I get to stop that hamster wheel. I get to start thinking differently. I get to start doing differently. I get to feel empowered in making decisions that serve me. We most recently had a discussion in one of our group coaching calls where somebody brought up that they were feeling overwhelmed. And there's a lot going on in the world, right? Outside of breast cancer, which is huge, but there's a lot going on in the world. And she shared, as people do, very vulnerably, very openly in our group coaching, safe, beautiful, loving container that we have. And she shared that she spends a lot of time on news apps, going down that rabbit hole. She's since made a decision to get off those apps and has noticed how much calmer she's feeling, like as soon as she did it. But it's the same with every social media thing. Unfollow people who make you feel anxious. Unfollow people who are bringing negativity and fear into your life. Choose the energy that you want to surround yourself with. It's part of the reason why I created a Facebook group. And if you're not in it, it's amazing. It's an incredible group of women who uplift each other, who support each other. It's not always positive, 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 positive. We're real, we're raw. We share that things can be messy, myself included. But we also share how we deal with the messiness so that we're not staying in it. That group is the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. And if you're in that group, I'm grateful that you're in that group. I'm bringing support and love and the energy that we have in that group to support other women on this journey. And so part of this calming and disconnecting from social media, you might just literally say, I'm going to do a digital detox. I'm going to just get off for a week and see how I feel, or a day, whichever feels more realistic for you. But really start to tap into, is this serving me? Is this making me feel how I want to feel in my life? And get rid of watching or following or being in certain groups, because you've got this thought that you should be. You should do something. You should be somebody. You should watch this. You should do this. We're getting rid of all the shoulds. As Brene Brown says, and I love her, in her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, she says we need to unpack culture. Unpack culture, all the shoulds, all the things that you've been told that you should be, that you should do, what you should follow, what you should read, because that's just other people's opinions and it's not you. So you get to unpack all of that and learn who you really are. This helps to do that, right? It helps to tap into that, helps you start to feel calmer and more grounded. And also start to reconnect. And I know this can feel awkward, and we've talked about bandwidth in this series already, but reconnecting with real life when you have the bandwidth, when it feels ready. And that real life might be going and sitting outside or going for a walk in nature. Think of reconnecting with nature. It's going to bring you more calm than 10 minutes on social media is going to. Test it out. Try it on for size. Do a little experiment and see how it feels. And again, this is something that you can invite your whole family to do and see how it feels. Get out a board game. Get out a pack of cards. Interact with somebody. I love to do jigsaw puzzles. Love, love, love. Right? That's calming for me. That's therapy for me. That's a restorative activity for me. Reading a book for fun. Right? Things that really top up your teapot versus sucking you dry. So your calm action of the day, I think you can probably already guess, is to take a break from social media for a designated period, right? I'm not going to tell you what that period is because I don't know how much you're attached to your phone or that you're on social media now. So you get to decide that. What is it going to be for you? Are you going to take a morning off or an afternoon, maybe a whole day, maybe a week? What is it going to be for you? But I invite you to do this, to just observe how you feel. What is your energy? Are you feeling calmer because you're not getting all of that in your face? And while you're doing that, trying to focus on something either in nature or an in-person connection instead. Picking up the phone, calling a friend, going for a little walk with your neighbor, having a cup of tea and a chat with a friend or neighbor instead. Okay, try it on. Don't knock it till you try it and just see. Do the experiment and be curious to see how you feel. Okay, let's end today with our exercise. Left hand over heart, right hand on top, giving your heart a gentle hug. And imagining your 10-year-old self, or maybe it's you today. Maybe you're imagining now that you need to hear this. That's okay too. And repeat after me, either out loud or quietly in your head. You are loved. You are safe. I've got you. I love you. Have a beautiful day living in your real life instead of in social media land. I can't wait to see what you discover. Bye for now.